Well, look, I promised to continue on this coronavirus theme because the public are angry. We've had over 18 months to get the coronavirus stuff right, and all we have now is economic ruin for many. I normally talk to Mark Latham at this time about the crisis in education, but I thought I'd speak to him tonight about an outstanding piece by John Kehoe, the economics editor at Parliament House, in which John Kehoe argues correctly that nobody in the political class and very few people in the sensationalist media are prepared to whisper some indisputable facts about the virus, instead relying on fear. Let me bring in Mark, because John Kehoe wrote about an elderly relative whose 90-year-old friend in Geneva had been dying in hospital and suffered a stroke. According to the relative, he was expected to die. In his final days, he caught COVID-19. His death was attributed to the virus. Mark, thank you for your time, and I know you've read this piece by John Kehoe. Surely this renders these statistics meaningless. Are we being lied to?
Well, it's a piece that puts the facts out there, Alan. I think the first important point is that John Kehoe went to the Financial Review as a Treasury economist. And it's one of the striking aspects of this whole 18-month debate about COVID and its economic and health impacts that trained economists, rational people, have been so quiet in the public debate. But here's John Kehoe putting out all the facts that 3/4 of Australians who've died with COVID had at least one pre-existing comorbidity, 41% dementia, 32% chronic heart problems, and on the list goes. The average
Just
age
stop there,
of
Mark.
people...
Mark, stop there. Mark, stop there. Brilliant point. Just repeating that again. Now, it reports, this is not from John or Mark or me, from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, that 73% of Australians who've died with COVID had at least one and often multiple other pre-existing comorbidities. This is from death certificate data reported by the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Mark, none of this is in the public place.
No, it's a failing of the rational economists. Very few of them have got out and put the facts in the public debate. Adam Crichton, I think, is one outstanding example. He's been wonderful at the Australian.
Yes.
There was a lady who had a crack on Q&A on the ABC one night. She got shouted down. And haven't heard from her since. And it's been left to commentators like yourself, Alan, to put the rational facts in the public debate. Kehoe goes on to say that the average age of people dying in Australia with COVID is 85 years. That is above the life expectancy rate in Australia. 3/4 of the COVID deaths have been in Australian aged residential care, mostly in Victoria. And in aged residential care, the average duration in those homes is 2 to 3 years. So the impact, I mean, any death is sad and unfortunate, but the impact overwhelmingly has been on older people with existing health conditions who are in nursing homes.
But I mean, the Prime Minister's announced a 4-stage plan, so we're going to be in these stop-start lockdowns for months. John Kehoe says, and I quote him, nobody in the political class and very few in the sensationalist media are prepared to whisper some indisputable facts about COVID-19. One, he said, of historical daily news conferences by premiers to announce case numbers, and an obliging media then hyperventilates. But nobody who caught COVID-19 in Australia this year, Mark, has died.
Well, Alan, I think a couple of problems there. One is that the commercial media has obviously decided there's ratings to be garnered with hysterical coverage about COVID scaring the pants off people. And the other factor is that, essentially for 18 months now, we really haven't had parliamentary democracy. We've had the equivalent of a health dictatorship where elected leaders just automatically follow the advice of health officials. They feel a tremor in the system and think it's an earthquake and want to close everything down way beyond any rational assessment of need. Look at Sydney right now. We've got no COVID cases in Shell Harbour, in Wallandilly, where I am right now, in the Blue Mountains, Northern Beaches, very few cases in Penrith, Central Coast, Hawkesbury and Wollongong. All those areas closed down. I mean, there's a concentrated problem very clearly in Fairfield and a couple of surrounding areas. Why aren't they targeted for the lockdown instead of such a broad brush destructive strategy that's killing jobs, killing businesses, and quite frankly, causing many more health problems than the virus itself?
Good on you. Good to talk to you, Mark. Always God. Thank God for you, Mark Latham. That's all I can say.